So the next step, designing the presentation. So we're talking about PowerPoint still. And you can use the outline view to create, move, and delete slides. You can also edit text in outline view. You can create a presentation from a Microsoft Word outline. That's one of the beauties of Microsoft Office that many people don't realize or don't utilize much. The three main programs, the most commonly utilized programs of Microsoft Office, are Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And they behave quite well together where they can utilize different elements. Format and align text, and adjust character spacing and line spacing. Adjust character spacing, what the heck is that? In the terminology of desktop publishing, it's called kerning, when you are not just changing line spacing vertically, but when you're changing the spacing between the actual letters. And you don't have much kerning control in a lot of desktop applications. Adobe Publisher has tremendous control. It's my favorite, but it's really hard to use for a beginner. But if you want a printed page to look an exact way, Adobe Publisher, expensive, hard to learn, steep learning curve, but really powerful. And there is something called Microsoft Publisher. Oh, excuse me, not Adobe Publisher. I'm sorry, I'm mixing the names up. Adobe InDesign. InDesign is the Adobe publishing tool, desktop publishing tool, Adobe InDesign, which is the professional tool as opposed to Microsoft Publisher, which they would like to be a professional tool. But I don't know anybody who uses Microsoft Publisher for a real publishing house. It's great for in-house stuff. It's a powerful tool and a lot of people use it, but you know, it's for marketing departments. It's not for the real serious folks. The real serious professionals use Adobe InDesign. And I don't even know of a second competitor. I'm sure there's others out there since I'm not a desktop publisher, but I have worked extensively with Adobe InDesign in the past, creating a newsletter for a nonprofit for years. I'm getting a little off track here, but this is important concepts and understanding the whole universe of applications that are available to you. I want to insert a perfect image and it's not quite right. I need to edit that image. What's the professional go-to tool that's probably the best one on the market? Adobe Photoshop. It is the image tool, but do I need that? No, I've got tools that I use to get the image right. So when you're looking at how to make something look just right, sometimes you need to know more about character spacing and kerning, or going to another program for image editing, or utilizing Microsoft Word for a layout. Again, the big picture, rather than I'm in PowerPoint and I'm looking through a straw trying to solve the problem in PowerPoint. Usually you can do that, but often you need to have this world of opportunities out there, like the intersection between Microsoft Word's outline tool and Microsoft PowerPoint's slide presentation creation tools. So copying text and objects, you can drag and drop just like you would in Microsoft Word. So you can drag things around from one slide to another, or even from Microsoft Word into PowerPoint. Copying and pasting, I can copy a table or a graphic from Excel and paste it into a PowerPoint slide, an image. There's just so much that I can do. Go away. There's so much I can do using just simple drag and drop and copy and paste, which is kind of the standard manipulation of objects in modern programs. Outline view. Actually, let me open something so I can show it to you. I'll go back to my, winemaking intro. I deleted it. Actually, I deleted a bunch of these. Let me go in to a PowerPoint. All right, here is a PowerPoint. And I want to look in outline view. So I go view. And wait a minute. Master view, normal slideshow. Where is my outline view? Oh, I don't have it on this computer. I've got an older version that doesn't have that tool. My apologies. And watching me make that mistake, that's a good thing. I go from this computer to the Hartnell computers all the time, not so much right at the moment with the COVID shelter in place, but I forget which things are available in which versions of the programs myself. So we'll have to depend on this for the outline view. But it is another view that has been added in the more recent versions. I have the 2010, it was added with the 2013 version. But you can certainly work with your slides in outline view, a very powerful tool. Collapsing and expanding slides allows you, if you are dividing it up into an outline view, you can collapse groups of slides based on their hierarchy in the outline. So you have the expanded slides view with all the slides, all the detail, and just the categorical view with it collapsed. And that can be really handy when you're trying to organize in outline view. So here's a Microsoft Word outline, and here's the equivalent PowerPoint slides outline. And don't worry about this. This is an advanced feature that I'm not going to ask you about on a test. I'm not going to ask you to create any kind of outline. This is something that, for one thing, I don't know which version of the programs you're going to be using. And so it would be very unfair of me to expect everybody to create something like this, which is somewhat Microsoft PowerPoint specific. And you might not have access to this tool, but you should be aware of it. If you know in the back of your mind this can be done, it can be really, really, really handy. So switching into formatting your presentation, you can format text. This is kind of an overlap with some of the things we talked about before, but you can change font styles, you can change font sizes, you can change the case from uppercase to lowercase. You can change the character spacing. This is the kerning, as it's called in the desktop publishing world. But you can change, so you can relax the letters so that they are more spaced out, and which sometimes looks really good in a certain situation, or gets things to line up exactly right, or you can compress them, make them look crowded if there is a visual purpose to do that. The line spacing between lines on your slide, it looks and behaves a little differently than Word because it is a slide. It's a visual artistic slide, and so it's not the same as line spacing within paragraphs. It's similar, but it behaves differently. Certainly this is almost identical. It behaves exactly the same way. There's some subtle differences that they don't always behave the same way between Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint, but you have left aligned, centered, right aligned, or justify aligned, where if you have a line of text and there's enough text, it will adjust the kerning, adjust the character spacing so it fills the entire line. That's justified. Very common in newspaper print. You want your columns to have on the left and right side all of the text aligned on both sides. That's justified, just like you see here in this little tiny graphic image. Copy formatting to text and objects. This is something we did in Word. You click on the Format Painter once, it's now ready. So any action that you do is, or anything you highlight next, will be given the format of whatever was highlighted when you click this button. So you highlight something. If I like this particular word and I like the format or this phrase, I highlight it, I click on Format Painter, and it's going to load the Format Painter tool with whatever formatting is associated with whatever I highlighted. Now I take my cursor and I highlight something else, and it will unload the Format Painter onto that text I just highlighted next, and it will transfer it. If you double click to load the Format Painter, then it will stay loaded, and I can click that and then click that. I can then click that if I want to. I can click all over the place. And it will stay loaded and changing the format of everything I click on until I go back and I click on the Format Painter button to unload it, turn it off. So double click kind of has a semi-permanent load of Format Painter. Single click is just a one-shot deal. It loads the Format Painter with the format of whatever I've highlighted and unloads it onto whatever I highlight next. Slide sorter for rearranging the slides. So if I go into slide sorter view, I can say, you know what, I really need to talk about that up here, so I'm going to slide that one up here. And I really need this one also to be up in the front, and I move that. You can move it all over the place. Do whatever you want. Really handy to rearrange in slide sorter view, but I'm not in a editing mode. If I double click on a slide, I move into edit mode where I can make adjustments however I want. Now it's possible with some version that you have, or some of the new versions, I can't remember because I never try to edit something in slide sorter view. Maybe the new ones do allow you to edit, or maybe if you have a competitor's program, maybe they do allow edit in sorting views. Organizing with sections, I'm not really gonna get into that, but you can organize, you can create sections for your presentation, and these sections are just another organizing tool to have your presentation organized into some sort of logical sections for presentation. Printing, you can print slides, handouts, speaker notes, outlines. You can print it any way you want. Now, normally, if you just hit File Print, what are you going to get? You're going to get whatever presentation, one slide at a time, that you are going to do in presentation mode. And that's not necessarily something that makes sense. You don't want to necessarily just say print and print a whole page, one page each for all of your slides. So these other print options are really important. So if I go into print, what is it going to give me? It's going to give me one slide at a time. I can say I can print all slides. I can only print the current slide, or I can do a custom range of slides, 1 through 5. But I'm still printing 1 through 5. I'm still printing whole slides. And I'm going to take a quick break here, be right back. My alarm just went off.